Okay, this is match 1 at 119 for Ben Graham from Perry in the black. On top has a leg in, but as you can tell, it's almost like he's going to scissor the body. It's all the way over on the far side. Now there it's in. It's an inside leg, though, but he's still going to go right for the split-o right here. It's going to look like he had the other leg in and like he was going for splits. Now to a cross face, pack it at the elbow, which is what we want. Go for that cradle. This guy is going to grab the legs, try to come around for his shots and cut that corner. Ben still has that cradle. He keeps circling off. Right here, we need to keep that elbow packed, roll it through, or sit through. We're going to have a hard time with this the whole match. You're going to hear me say it a bunch of different times. Right here, the collar ties, both wrestlers. Ben again, 119. Ben Graham in the black from Perry against Portland. This is Miller from Portland. Has a Russian and steps in. Boom. Brings him down to the ground. We're going to be right down here a lot. And we're going to slide. We're going to be trying to bring him through as we control from right here. There's a 3/4. So it's basically like we're on top and control almost in this position. Ben likes to ride from here. But he's not around behind, and that's not a point. That's why Buckland there, the referee, is telling him no points yet, not control. It kind of is, but it's side control, and he didn't get the initial 2 points yet. He's going to keep scooting, either going cradle right here or going spladle. He has it, and now you're going to see him bring it right up to the knee, which is exactly where he's supposed to be. We found out later about this call, which I'll tell you about in just 1 second. But from right here with the knee, now he hasn't locked his hands yet. Watch as he goes back. If he doesn't lock his hands, that's what makes it legal. Now with his hands locked, he brings him back over. It's a perfect spladle. They call this illegal now. There's no reason, shape, or form why a spladle would be illegal. But we found out yesterday in another match that you bring him back, and until he strokes the first count of near fall, it is illegal until he strokes the first point of near fall. Then he can lock his hands. They actually are micromanaging and scrutinizing the near fall in locking their hands for a guillotine and a split, and thinking that when you bring them back for it, you couldn't have already locked your hands. In other words, it's absolute anarchy, because you're going to micromanage a second or a half a second to say he had his hands locked, he didn't have his hands locked. It's stupid. But that's what it is. Now we understand the call, and that's what Ben's going to be up against here in this match. Riding high, and that's why the guy has the arm. We're out there up front going for cross faces. Not going to be able to see the camera angle here, but Ben has him and is bringing him back. But this guy Ben is very high on top of the fact. And you can tell, if you see where his leg's at, he doesn't have it in. He's not even body scissoring, and we get caught out there out front too high. Our choice. Looked like he deferred, if I remember correctly, and Portland chose down, which is exactly what we wanted. Let him choose down. We're on the weak side to start off. And Ben going back to the crossface. Again, out front. He wants to be out front there, or you could say to the side. We don't want that, and from right here, we're usually too high. Because if the guy can tripod up, which the guy keeps doing, and there it is, there's the tripod, he can come into the leg, but at the same time, he can bump us over top, and that's what we don't want. Now watch this. Drops us. Ben keeps going. You're not going to be able to see it yet with the vantage point, but we'll keep going. And this guy's right into the legs. Has his head up. He's going to sit and scoot, but we go out of bounds. Again, we need to be back. If we're cross-facing, we need to be broken down. If we have the legs in, we need to be packing at the elbow and not getting too high. We need to stay back, especially against someone like this that wants to tripod every second. Now, right now, we have the splits, have the leg in. He's broken down. He could even cross-face if he wanted to right now. Figure 4. 3/4, step overs, basics for legs. If he wanted to cross-face cradle, now would be the time he's broken down. Okay, but not when this guy comes up to tripod. Now this guy has the arm again. He literally knows what he's doing right there to try to catch Ben getting high. He's catching that arm, and that's what we don't want. We want to be behind those arms right there, behind those armpits. And here we go again. Tripod and up there high. Now if Ben sits, we're fine. If Ben can't sit, look what happens. The guy comes out. The guy actually has his arm in. You're not going to believe this because Ben kept circling and went, then watch this, came backwards and grabbed his head. And right there, that's still control. And now the guy's on his back. And the guy's just like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Well, believe it or not, unbelievably, the ref wasn't even stroking near falls. The guy's lying on his back and we're still in control. Now watch this though. This time gets it and boom. I'm going to bring you right back through. Does no good if we're not going to get our knee on our side and bring them back in and start collecting near fall points. Right now, I still can't figure out why the friggin' ref is not counting near fall. I'm going literally insane between that and the previous spladle, but whatever. Let him up, and let's just go take down points is basically what I'm screaming at this point, trying to get my composure. We find out later that this is Buckland, the guy that wrestled when I did from Portland, that's refereeing his own team out there in Charlotte. Doesn't mean anything. Not going to take any cheap blows at him because he did an okay job, but that's obviously conflict of interest. We go to Charlotte, and one of the referees that shows up is previously an all-star from Portland, the team we're wrestling against. And, of course, having quite a few questions on his calls. Whatever. Interesting night, needless to say. You can make the determination from there what you think on some of these calls. Again, I asked about the near fall going right there on the line, and he stroked not even one for near fall and not one for near fall when the guy's lying on his back. And both of those. And nothing for near fall even before we finished off that spladle from before. Down on bottom, Ben Graham. Hand control. Definitely wanted that. Guys bringing an over leg. Trying to lock Ben down. Let's see what Ben does here. Cut towards the legs. Okay, too low, but he's out neutral to one. Guy goes for the head, and boom, goes headlock, brings us through. Ben locks him, keeps moving, which is what he needs to do. Now watch this. He's going to drop back and bring him the opposite way for the legs. Boom, and there it is. Almost like an inside step, almost. Grabs that arm immediately to circle. But right here, guess what? We don't stop. We get it at the elbow and keep circling again and we don't let him up to his base, ever. Ever. Now we can't bring him back, and we just lost that near fall point. But he moved awesome all the way up until that point. Now watch this. We're out to the side again, and the guy grabs the arm again, too, because we're riding too much high and too much to the side. But he does have a cradle now to the other side. Lets it go. No legs in. We're up here tall, like we could get rolled, and in a cradle again, but up. Need to either sit through or we need to go to the other side. And then, sure enough, this guy's escapes for one. Not good. Fixing our headgear, but this guy's coming in. And boom. Fireman's brings us down to the ground. We can't really lock a spladle. Trying to lock the spladle, but we don't have the leg. There's no way to spladle there. There isn't. It looks like it, but there's not. And sure enough, watch this. We are literally on our backs, if you can believe it. Now, Ben is probably one of the strongest 19s I've ever seen, and he rolls this kid all the way through. It didn't even matter if he was flat on his back or not. He is just determined, I'm going to roll everybody. So beware, 119-pounders. He is that strong. Now, watch this. If head was up and butt stayed down the whole time right here, this guy cannot roll. But head has to stay up and he has to scoot. He didn't scoot. This guy scooted. Ben did not. End of the match. Ben is going to come in with the win here. And I wish I could tell you the score, but as we walk away, it's going to be Ben, looks like 12-8 win. Congratulations.